Hey guys, it's Leanne. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be a review of the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams collection. So I've picked up the e.l.f. eyeshadow palette, and that's obviously what I've got on the eyes today. That's the look I'm going to be demonstrating. I'm going to be reviewing the brushes. So there's 3 brushes in the collection. The single scoop face sponge, we'll be reviewing that, and also the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams Cookie Crumble Lip Exfoliator. Also in this video, I actually just do my full face makeup and talk you through some techniques, and this is basically a full face of e.l.f. but just includes the new Cookies and Dreams collection. So if that's something you're interested in, obviously stick around, keep on watching. Don't forget to like the video if this is something that you like, which obviously it is. You're on this channel, you must like makeup. Let me know what your thoughts are on this collection. Are you going to be going out and purchasing it? Do you like the look? Let me know. And yeah, please subscribe if you're not already. So to start off with, I'm going to be going in with the e.l.f. Super Hydrate, which is a moisturiser with hydrating squalene. I think that's how you say it. So it's just like a jelly consistency, and this literally feels so smooth on the skin, and it does seem to absorb into the skin really easily. It's not like greasy or anything. Also as well, before we jump into the Cookies and Dreams collection, I actually ordered some new bits from e.l.f. So I'll just show you what I ordered, as that's going to probably be my next video. Yeah, I ordered the e.l.f. Gold Silicone Face Sponge. I seen this on someone else's YouTube and was like so intrigued by it. So it's just like a normal beauty sponge, but then underneath it's dipped in silicone, and that's for foundation application. Apparently, according to this, it's like a little bit better to apply foundation with. I also got e.l.f. bite-sized brow palette. So I've never seen these before in any of the store, in like Boots or Superdrug or whatever. So I actually didn't even know this was a thing. I don't know if it's new, but it's definitely new to me anyway. I've never seen it before. And I think it's a cream brow product. I think these two are cream. The cream shade one is cream and the dark brown one, and then these two are powder. I also ordered the bite-sized eyeshadow, and this is in the shade Carnival Candy. And then for today's video, I also picked up the e.l.f. Putty Primer Applicator. It's literally, it kind of fits in the palm of your hand. I thought it was a full-size brush. I mean, I'm not complaining or anything. It's still a cute little brush. It's got like a little scoop on one end to scoop out the putty primer, and then this is just to pat it into the skin. When I use the e.l.f. Putty Primer, I don't really like the feel of it on my skin. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be rubbing it in with the brush. That is just such habit to rub it in with fingers. That's what I'm so used to doing. And it feels quite soft on the face actually. But I think for me, I'd still probably prefer to use fingers, as that's just what I'm used to. And I think you can really work it in a lot more. The little scoop is so convenient. And it's definitely, I'll be using this just for the scooper, because I don't know if it's called a scooper, but yeah, you know what I mean, the little, yeah, scooper. It is a first impression, apart from the Cookies and Dreams Cookie Crumble Lip Exfoliator. I used this last night just before bed because my lips are so dry, and I'm so impressed with it. Like today, I can tell a difference in my actual lips. So at first it goes on really smooth, but then once you actually start working it into the lips, it's like goes really gritty. It's got like little, you know, exfoliating beads or whatever. So I'm just going to put this on now and let it soak into the lips. And that does smell really sweet, by the way. It smells really nice. So I'm going to wipe this off before I actually do any lip products at the end. But yeah, it doesn't feel too harsh on the lips. It actually feels really moisturising, even though it is an exfoliator. Smells nice, feels nice, and already, like I said, I have noticed a difference in how smooth my lips have felt today. So yeah, it's not too harsh. That's one thing that always puts me off buying lip exfoliators, how rough they're going to be on the skin, but actually that feels fine. Oh, also as well, I actually picked up the Stay All Day Blue Light Micro Set and Mist, but that's going to be in my next e.l.f. review, so that's one thing I forgot to mention before. So I actually picked up the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams Single Scoop Face Sponge. So I've actually dampened this sponge and I've actually wet it, so it's obviously double the size, but it does come in a little, obviously to look like a little ice cream. This is how it comes in the packaging, and that goes inside there, but it kind of won't fit now. So I'm just going to be applying the e.l.f. Camo Cc Cream, and this is in the shade Light 240. And I'm not going to use a brush today. I just really want to test this sponge and see how this sponge applies foundation. It doesn't feel like a really hard sponge on the skin. It feels quite soft, and as you can see, it is actually blending the foundation away quite nicely. When you do use a beauty sponge like this to apply foundation, it doesn't give you as much of a full coverage as applying with a brush, and that's because the sponge soaks up any excess foundation or any excess product. I feel like you probably need to use a little bit more foundation rather than if you apply with a brush. But the sponge is working quite nicely, but for me, I would still prefer to go in with a brush. But this is just personal preference basically. So for concealer today, I'm going to be going in with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer Satin Finish, and I'm in the shade Fair Warm. So this is literally one of my favourite e.l.f. products and favourite drugstore concealers actually. It's a really nice formula, doesn't dry straight away, and it really is a good coverage. Down the centre of the nose, a little bit in the forehead, in the chin. That's just to bring light to the centre of the face, and wherever you put concealer like this, it will bring certain features of the face forward. And this sponge is blending away this concealer like a dream. It really is a good sponge, and it's a good shape actually to get it right in the inner corner of the eyes. The point is actually ideal for getting the little tricky inner corner of the under eye. Okay, so for powder today, I'm going to be going in with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder, and I'm in the shade Light. So I'm just going to be dipping the sponge straight into the powder, and then what I like to do is just tap off any excess just onto my wrist, and that way I found that it avoids creasing on the under eye, as you're not applying too much product straight away. You're just literally setting the under eye rather than baking it straight away with a lot of product. And then I'm going to use the excess just to go over the eyelids to make sure that they are not creasing. So far this sponge is so good with liquids and powders up to now. So I definitely recommend the sponge up to now. I'm really impressed with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. bronzer, and I'm in the shade Warm. So I'm going in with quite a angled brush really. This is from Inglot. This is the Inglot 38 SS brush. I'm just going to apply this just to the hollows of the cheekbones. So this bronzer is not like a fully matte bronzer. I find that it does add some type of like glow to the skin, which I like. But if anyone has enlarged pores or like texture on the skin, then this product is not maybe the best option. But I quite like a dewy, glowy look to the skin. Placement of this bronzer, I'm literally placing it just under the hollows of the cheeks. So how you find them is just literally by sucking your cheeks in basically. And then where it carves in, that's where you would apply the bronzer, and then just push the bronzer up, as that will give the face more of a lift. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some blush. So I'm taking the e.l.f. Bite Size Face Duo, and I'm in the shade Guava. So I need to actually wipe this lip exfoliator off. The beads are melting into the lips now, but because I'm going to be moving on to a proper lipstick, I just feel like this is a little bit lipstick's not just going to apply nicely on top, so I'm just going to wipe this off with a cotton pad. But I really do like this product. I really need to mention how much I like it. I'm going to go in with the highlight now, and I'm just using an eyeshadow brush just to give the most concentrated highlight, to give like the most intense highlight. So to apply the blush, I'm going to be using a Peaches and Creams PC03 brush, and I'm starting on the apples of the cheeks, and I'm just literally going to be blending this back to where the contour is, and then up the temples as well. And then what I'm going to be doing now is just going back in with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder, same sponge, dipping in, and I'm not going to be tapping off this time because I'm going to be baking underneath the contour. Carving out from back of the cheekbone to the corner of the mouth, and I'm going to do the same on this side, and obviously I'm going to try and get it symmetrical. So for lipstick today, I'm going to be going in with the e.l.f. Satin Lipstick, and this is in the shade Cream. So this is such a good dupe for the MAC Cosmetics Myth lipstick. It's literally identical. I don't actually have an e.l.f. lip liner, so for that reason I'm going to be going in with my favourite Morphe Sweet Tea lip liner. Such a good buy. I was about to say investment then, but it's literally £3, so it's obviously not an investment at all. So I've picked up the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams eyeshadow palette, that's what it's literally called. So it literally fits in the palm of your hand, but you get 8 shades. So some of them are a lot more pigmented than others, but that's just because some of them are darker tones. But I am intrigued to try this out. So to apply these eyeshadows, I've decided to actually challenge myself. And I'm just going to be going in with the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams brush set. And I think you could probably do a full eyeshadow look with them, so I'm going to challenge myself to do that today. So I've just done this eye off camera, and I'm so glad that I did try and do one eye first, because it just didn't go as well as I thought it would. So I did say before that I'm just going to try and use the 3 e.l.f. brushes, but I've tried it on this eye and it's doable, but not for a cut crease basically. For this eye I used this brush to carve the crease, and as you can see it is defined, but not really as defined as I'd like it to be. But yeah, that's just a flat brush, and then you've got like a big fluffy one, which I really like this brush so far up to now, and then you've just got a smaller one, more like a bullet brush. So to start, I'm just going to go in with the bullet brush, and I'm just going to be taking this deep chocolate brown shade, and I'm just going to be tapping off the excess and just applying this to the outer corner of the eye. So the shadows so far, well, this shadow, the chocolate brown shade that I'm using now, is quite pigmented. It blends away seamlessly, but it doesn't completely go. Like, as you can see, the colour's still there. And then I'm just doing circular motions back and forth, and that's just to make sure that there's no harsh edges. Go in with the big fluffy brush now and just trace over where I've placed that first shadow. And a fluffier brush will give you a softer, more blown out effect. I'm just going to go in with this shade, so the nudie shade. I'm just going to tap off any excess. This palette does have some fallout, but not a lot. That's just something to mention, as I know that it really bothers some people. It doesn't really bother me so much. So I'm just going to blend this up to the brow bone. And then now I'm going to go in with the black shade, and that's the same brush as I used to pack on the chocolate brown shade. So I'm just really deepening up the edges of the outer eye, and then I'm just blending this into the eye socket or the crease. So I'm going to go back in with the fluffy brush now, and I'm going to take the chocolate brown shade and just blend these edges. That's like blends away really smooth. It's not a patchy formula. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the crease, but like I said, on this eye I did try it with this small brush, but it just didn't look the best, as you can see. I'm going to go to my little go-to for cutting a crease, which is the Zoeva 144 brush. I'm going to take some of the Primark My Perfect Colour liquid concealer. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that Primark concealer, just place it onto my little plastic palette. Then I'm just going to get the brush here is coated. So I cut the crease by looking down and just placing this brush from the inner corner to the centre. So just getting the guide at first, and then I will start filling in the rest of the eyelid. This might sound obvious, but it obviously should be above your own natural crease, so that when you open your eye you can actually see the cut crease. So yeah, it goes just a little bit above where your eye dips in. And then I'm also just making sure that there's a even coverage of concealer across the eyelid. So what I'll do now is take my finger and just dab over the edges of that concealer, just to make it a little bit easier to blend in from the brown to the blue. And then I'm just going to go back in with that fluffy brush, take a little bit of this beige shade and just press it just lightly over the concealer and the darker brown shade. That's just to make it blend basically. To be honest, this blue, this one, the shimmery metallic-y one, it really is not that metallic-y when you put it on. I thought it'd be a lot more shimmerier and a lot more bright, but I'm going to try wetting this formula with just a makeup setting spray. So I'm just going to take a flat brush now. I'm just going to spray it with some makeup setting mist. This is just the Primark one. A little bit of this eyeshadow. It actually is, it does look a lot brighter compared to the other eye actually. So this is a Zoeva 226 smudger brush. I'm going to wet it again with the Primark spray, and this is just going to help me really get into the top part of the crease and not really smudge basically. So that does actually look quite nice now. I do prefer this side to that side. I think it's a bit more dramatic or whatever, which is my type of look. So now, to intensify the crease, what I'm going to do is go in with the black shade and just trace over where I've carved the crease. So I'm just going to take a small angle brush. I'm just going to dip in a little tiny bit, tap off excess and just trace over in a corner. To the outer corner, and hopefully everyone can just see how much that adds to the look. So I'm just going to go in now with a waterline colour, and this is just a black pencil from number 7. And then I'm just going to take this black shade from the e.l.f. palette and go in with a little e.l.f. brush. That'll really stop this waterline colour from moving throughout the day. So I'm just going back and forth now, just really smudging that black into the waterline to give it like a nice smouldering effect. And then now I'm going to go in with this brush, the little bullet brush, and just whatever's left on here, I'm just going to run it underneath the waterline just to smudge it out even more. And then on the top waterline, I'm just going to go back in with a little bit of the black from this palette and just run it straight across the lid. Applying eyelashes, this will just help to hide the lash band basically. So I'm just going to go in with this light gold shade now, and I'm just taking a small bullet brush and I'm just going to do the inner corner, and it looks quite nice. It's not a blinding inner corner highlight, but it's nice enough. And I'm going to use that just underneath the arch of the brow as well. I've used 5 out of 8, so I didn't use those two and the cream one. So I didn't use the powder blue, shimmer or matte and the cream one, but I did use all of those, and this is how the eyes are looking. This is the finished result. So I'm quite happy with how the eyes are looking, because obviously the shadows are really pigmented, really good quality, they do blend easily. Obviously this one I used the setting spray and I used it with a brush, so I think you can see a difference when you use a setting mist compared to just swiping it on with a finger when it's dry. So this one's definitely my favourite anyway. But yeah, like I said, let me know in the comment section what you think. So the 3 brushes, the Cookies and Dreams brush set, I do think that for me personally, I could have not bought them and still been quite happy, but I'm glad that I tried them. I love their design, like I've said, and they are good quality brushes, so I would recommend them for someone who doesn't have a big makeup kit but who wants to expand the makeup kit. They are really good brushes, but for me personally, because I've got that many other brushes that I love, I could have probably done without these, but I would still recommend them for others for those reasons I've just said. I really do love the big fluffy brush. I'll probably still continue to use that. Probably won't use those 2 smaller brushes, but this big fluffy one, I did really like that for blending away and diffusing the edges. It's really, really good for that. So yeah, I'll kind of will just use that one probably, but I would recommend it. So the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams Cookie Crumble Lip Exfoliator, I actually would recommend. It's kind of changed my mind about lip exfoliators now. Like I explained in the video, I don't really ever buy anything like this. Don't normally think they work, to be honest, or they're too harsh, as I explained. But yeah, this one I definitely recommend that. Smells lovely, literally does actually what it says on the tin. It does smooth your lips. I literally, like I said, used it once, noticed the difference, so I definitely would recommend that from the collection. Now the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams Single Scoop Face Sponge, I do like it, but I've got that many other sponges that I actually love. Maybe not for the same value, actually. It is a really good value sponge, it is really good, but I personally love at the moment the Katie's makeup sponge, which is cheaper than this e.l.f. sponge, I think. I would recommend this sponge for someone who just loves e.l.f. and if you're on the market for a new sponge, yeah, do it. But for me, I could have achieved the same makeup look without this sponge through using another sponge. But it has done a good job considering I didn't actually use a brush on the skin. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't even use a brush. So it has actually done a pretty good job of getting a good coverage and everything blended in seamlessly and flawlessly. So I would recommend it. It's super soft as well. It is a really soft sponge, and you've seen how easy it was to get to the under eye. So actually I would recommend that, yeah. Now the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams eyeshadow palette, for the price, I love it. If you've ever tried e.l.f.'s other eyeshadow palettes, then the quality is the same with this. Some of the shades, I probably would not use those 2. The cream one, probably won't use that so much. This one, like I said, inner corner highlight, it looks nice but it's not blinding, so I'd probably be more inclined to use some of the other inner corner highlighters I've got. This one, just probably won't use that, but I do like how blendable the colours are. They are good quality, so I would actually recommend it. But for me personally, probably won't go back to this palette to be honest, but it is really good. That's only because I've got so many other palettes though, because I'm a makeup artist and I just buy so much makeup anyway for YouTube. So yeah, for me, I probably won't use this again, only for videos on YouTube, but for someone else it could be like their go-to every day, because it does have wearable shadows. It's got like the little camel beige cream. I know people like that in the waterline. A black is always useful to have in a palette, so I would recommend it for other people, but yeah, I can just see me not kind of using this again, to be honest. But yeah, I would recommend that. I think that was literally everything from the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams collection, I think. So yeah, I hope that it was worth sticking around to the end to hear me honest views and opinions, and I hope you all learned something and enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, leave me a comment in the comment section, as all that helps me out so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next tutorial.